Hello, hello, you sexy bastards. We are back again with another MandaloreGaming review. So, last time I played the Forest. Not the Forest, this is the Forest. I played Green Hell. And when I semi-beat it, got stuck and said, fuck it, I'm not walking around for 20 more hours. Y'all told me it's very similar to the Forest. And you spoiled a little bit of the Forest for me, but that's okay. As long as the gameplay is good, but I don't know if the gameplay is good, so I guess we'll see. Tell me, Mandalore, you sexy bastard. Never mind, go back, go back. What the fuck was that?
The Forest is one of the first early access games I ever bought, right outside of Natural Selection 2 and Minecraft.
Oh, yeah.
It was part of that early
It's out now, I'm pretty sure, right? Damn.
Minecraft DayZ survival game craze, back when Steam Greenlight was a thing. It had every single cursed rune trait. However, this one had a lot that appealed to me. It was single player only, so no nightmare netcoding. It was focused on survival and had an actual story. And to top it all off, the threat wasn't going to be zombies. It wasn't clear what exactly the danger was. Because while I liked Minecraft survival, you didn't have the constant danger experience outside of multiplayer. Sure, someone can stalk you around and plot a breaking and entering, but it's not the same. In single player, a simple wall or door kept you safe at night. So the Forest is what I was looking for. I bought it for 15 bucks, and now all these years later, it's out of early access and done. The story is finished, and they even added multiplayer. Okay. So let's see how it went. What? The game has a simple but intriguing premise. You're a dad, and on a flight with your son Timmy and his unfortunate haircut.
Why is he fighting?
You learn why Spirit Airlines gets the rates it does as the plane crashes into the earth unexpectedly. You survive the crash, but your son is taken by a mysterious red figure. From here, it's up to you to survive the mysterious forest you've crashed.
Did a red man, a naked red man, just yoink a child
into and find your son?
FBI?
But it soon becomes clear you're a trespasser. There are strange creatures watching you, and some definitely don't appear to be human. And that's it. How are you so good at survival? How come you're not immediately being rescued? Why did the plane crash at all, and what is living in the woods? Well, a lot does get answered, but I'll save that for the end. Let's focus on graphics for now. For a small indie developer aiming as high as realism, it's damn good. It's also impressive how many art assets are from the early access 2014 version. Textures were upgraded, the engine was updated, but the Forest has always been a very pretty game. The lighting effects are nice and improved a lot over time, but I think something changed for the worse with the shader for sunlight. It seems more washed out and overblown than I remember. It looks fine when you're actually under the trees, which is where you'll spend most of your time anyway, but outside of that I find it weirdly hazy. It's not terrible or anything, but there might be some original Forest players who also remember a gloomier time. It's not a big deal, you can easily tweak down settings like bloom. Isn't it nice when there's just easy options for all this stuff? I'm not bitter at all. You can play with color grading if you want the Isn't it nice when there's just easy options for all this stuff? I'm not bitter at all. You can play with color grading if you want the game to be set in Hollywood, Mexico, or Hollywood, everywhere else in a scary movie really. There's a lot to tweak. The giant cave systems are also filled with detail and absolutely horrifying. The Forest is one of those games that does darkness correctly. Darkness is dark. Night isn't just some blue filter, it is black. They did a great job creating a realistic woodland environment. The map itself is handcrafted, so you never see anything too wonky, and a lot of your items are based on real world.
I like how my boy's using a lighter to light the way. It's a lighter, bro, it's not gonna light too much.
Old counterparts and brands, like the BIC or CIL lighter. Having all that stuff grounded in normalcy is great for immersion, but it also helps make the unusual that much more uncomfortable. What the Forest really excels more uncomfortable.
Bro, I don't
what
want
the Forest really excels at is the sound design.
Yo, didn't see she was a horror game.
Ambience.
Okay, why the fuck are you so... Sorry. Bro, there's something there. Stop eating, you fuck.
If you've spent some time in a North American forest, you'll recognize a lot of sounds. The specific bird calls and the way the wind moves through the trees. It is remarkably accurate, and it's clear that a lot of attention was given to making sure that everything sounded right. But you never forget that they're out.
Okay, what kind of bird was that? What kind of bird in America is this?
There too.
You got some weird ass birds.
There's no music sting when they're nearby, no little icon on your HUD, there's nothing. Your only warning at night might be some bushes moving and some twigs snapping. So less is more, less being sound and more being paranoid. There is some music.
Bro. Oh?
There are collectible cassette tapes, and naturally they all play 80s montage music. I don't think there'd be anything more appropriate.
Pa, you are king.
Yeah, you feel like fighting back.
Oh yeah, during the day. But during the night, yeah. Bam. What the fuck? My boy is building a totem pole out of people. 9 heads, 7 arms. Who's the bad guy in this game again?
It's kind of shocking for a game like this, but it's a kick-ass soundtrack. There's also a great non-diegetic soundtrack, but it mainly plays its story moments, so I can't do those here. There's some great guitar and synth work. There was even some music that reminded me of the animals of all things. You appreciate the music a lot when it comes in, since the game is usually devoid of it, but it's a perfectly appropriate grindhouse score.
Is that a fucking
So
deer?
it has some strong presentation, especially for such a tiny
Just
team.
chilling.
So good going so far. Now let's talk about the gameplay. You've got 4 difficulties to choose between. These can make your enemies or your survival meter harder, but you can also turn the enemies off. There is a creative mode, but you need to beat the story to unlock it. It's a little strange. Your plane will crash in one of a few preordained locations. Like I said before, there's only one map, so no procedural generation jank here.
Oh,
So you
okay.
start gathering stuff up to survive, which at first means rifling through suitcases for snack bars and drinks, but things get more complicated. You could eat berries, but some are poison, so you need to learn to eat the right berries. You could drink standing water, but that's basically poison too. It's untreated. So you'll need to make a rain collector or boil it properly, you get what I mean. There are several ways to get meat. You could go the old-fashioned route and just hunt it down, but meat has the problem of spoiling.
Yeah, this looks a lot like Green Hill in the
The meat will
survival
go bad
aspect.
here in only a few in-game hours. So you could go for the trapping approach and then save your food for later, or hang your meat out to dry in the wind, though this will take a lot longer. You can also forego meat entirely, so you have a lot of options to keep the meters filled. Even on hard survival, the survival part is
Kill
pretty
it.
easy. You may begin to wonder why
don't
birds
kill it.
constantly land around you just completely still, or why deer will just give up on life and accept death right in front of you, that are self-immolating themselves in the campfire for political reasons. The animal AI has constant breakdowns. Small prey animals like rabbits and squirrels react realistically and get the hell out when they see you coming, but so many animals will just come right to you
John?
that it gets really silly. As you'd expect, going vegan will add some challenge into your life. Otherwise, it's painfully easy to get tendies with very little effort. Then again, soda is one of the best
Is that
additions to your
katana
life.
sword?
Otherwise, it's painfully easy to get tendies with very little effort. Then again, soda's
Why we got Oda Nobunaga in this game? What the fuck is what is happening with this game?
the best rehydrators in the game, restores your energy, and booze cures cold. If you're ever at risk of hypothermia and have booze, don't do that. So if you turn on peaceful mode wanting to roleplay Hatchet or My Side of the Mountain, you might find that lacking. But to be fair, having to eat airplane meals is just one struggle of the game. You still need to be collecting resources and building up, because you need to build real estate and club turtles. If you can't make food and drink at home yet, that means going out and possibly dealing with the neighbors. It's a lot more likely they'll find you than you find them. You might make enough noise to attract them or wander onto their hunting grounds. You can hide from them for a few days, but eventually, they find you. It was a tribe of dirty cannibals the whole time. The first ones you encounter will likely be emaciated and deranged. Something foul you might only see on National Geographic or a local con. One or two can be taken out easy. Combat is wild and pretty fucking brutal. Your character's not a trained fighter, so he just swings wildly. You might have also noticed the cannibals aren't just beelining to kill me. In fact, after I finish off the first one, the other one runs off into the woods.
Pussy.
I never see her again that day. But then comes the night.
Oh, brother. I don't like this. I got fucking goosebumps. I wanna play this game now. Okay, we're definitely playing
Not only
this
did
game.
she come back, she brought more with her. They start surrounding the campsite, calling out to each other. This is the true
Ooga
horror of your
booga?
enemy. These aren't mindless zombies. This is a sentient enemy, and it acts like it. If you encounter one alone, they might just run away. The dirty feral ones are more likely to be hostile right from the get-go, but they'll still be more curious than out to eat you. They might just watch what you're doing and then try to creepily get into your blind spot. Their AI has tendencies, but it's not completely reliable like a lot of other games. Hiding the body of a feral away from where you were might be a good idea. They're not above eating their own dead, but does it help? I don't know. All I know is having corpses around distracts my work. They're unsettling, but only the start of your problems. Besides just trying to murder you, they'll rob your food too. In an all-out attack, they even might try to break some buildings.
Oh, they yoink?
However, these are just the banished outcasts. Encountering a proper tribe is when shit really hits the fan.
Oh.
Because they're smarter. See, if you do kill some ferals,
Bro, when people say return to monkey, this is not what they mean.
just the banished outcasts.
This guy actually
Encountering a
took it
proper
seriously.
tribe is when
Look at
shit
this
really
dude.
hits the fan. Because they're smarter. See,
This
if you do
chimp
kill some
motherfucker.
ferals, it's not a huge deal. If anything, having a big enough war crime in your yard keeps them from stopping by.
Bro.
With a tribal, killing them means they'll send someone looking. Let them run off and they'll definitely be visiting, but they might not be too hostile. If you haven't been trying to kill them non-stop, you'll have a strange, uneasy relationship. You're both wary of each other. They might just hang out at night, watching you from the bushes and the trees. You go to confront a patrol of them and they just run away into the hills. They can start making strange effigies in and around your campsite. You never know what to expect. Are they attacking or just measuring? Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ is Jesus
Where'd
Christ.
the other one go?
Kill it. Kill it with fire.
Did I mention this game has VR support?
Bro, where
you
are
can
you?
enjoy that if you want to. The unpredictability is great for the horror aspect. The act of trying to understand all the cannibals helps you succeed. What locations are important to them? Does building around or going near them piss them off? What actions can I take that'll make them afraid of me? How about chopping up a tribal body and then waving the body parts at another one? Well, that got him far away instantly, but is he gonna tell his friends about it? They are a community. I mean, sure, making a giant effigy of all these parts and lighting it on fire scares them off tonight, but they'll be back with greater numbers. You need to try and figure out the tribes, how they behave, and where they reside. Ideally, you generate enough fear to keep them away from you and let you work in peace. If you go overboard, like really overboard, well, the natives become restless. Their attacks increase in size and sophistication.
Did he
They'll
throw
start
a rock?
unleashing more of their horrors from the caves below. What starts as survival
Huh?
in size and sophistication, and they'll start unleashing more of their horrors
Bro, they got voodoo magic. What is this shit?
from the caves below. What starts as survival can escalate into full-out jungle warfare. The traps get deadlier and the stakes get higher, and it stays fun and scary and intriguing because the enemy feels worthy of it. Their animations are fast and fluid, and they do feel intelligent, but not predictable. I won't spoil all the things you can see them do,
dodge?
but there's a lot. Now I did wonder, and I'm sure others do too, is it possible to make peace with them? Well, if I was in an underdeveloped culture, and saw a man fall out of the sky and start blowing people up with bombs, I think I'd have no choice but to worship him as a god too.
True. Ooh, nice vocals.
They know if the singing stops, the pulses do too.
Tupac?
Ultimately, you're in their woods, so peace is never a true option.
Ah.
Oh well. Hey, they started it. So the cannibal stuff
So
is neat.
you
We do need
ended
more
it,
games
huh?
you could take an arm and slap people with it. But there are some systems surrounding all that. As I mentioned before, there's the combat. It's simple, but satisfying. You can move and
Kill
hit
him,
for light
kill him.
attacks, but for power attacks you have to remain
What?
still. With you being so slow compared to the natives, a power attack is risky, but worth it if you manage to pull it off. Add Tony Hawk airtime into the mix and they explode into chunks. It's tough to do, but never gets old. The big cheese tactic is stun locking them with a fast weapon, but there's rarely just one. The nastier, basement-dwelling enemies are immune to this anyway, but melee is only one option. There are all kinds of deadly
have
man-made
a gun?
weapons to find around the peninsula, but it's
Chains?
also backed up by some robust crafting mechanics. There's a lot to experiment with. You can make a weapon completely from scratch, or upgrade some existing ones. Why stop at a machete when you can cover it in teeth? Modifications like that
Does
are
that
permanent,
help
but
in
they're
any
also
way?
temporary upgrades. Arrows and weapons can be lit on fire. The poison berries from earlier aren't useless, you can coat them on your weapons.
Oh.
There are lots of useful new things to
Shrek?
discover, but also clowny shit too.
My
a big
swamp
rock is
now.
good for finishing off an enemy, but you can also make an upgraded rock. Then you can set it on fire, just to hurt yourself. What?
Oh jeez! It burns! It burns!
Fire burns.
What's the point of that?
Did he just kill a pigeon out of the air?
What's the point of that?
God damn it, Dimitri.
It's a good way to make more satisfying discoveries. If you want to fight less, there's also a stealth system. It's your standard crab walk sneak. You can increase it by covering yourself in mud or making special stealth armor, and getting it high enough means you might be able to bail out of some dangerous situations. Once again, simple, but adds some
Bro, that's
depth.
shit.
Speaking of that, you do have some background stats. This can affect your melee damage, your
Strength,
movement speed, and overall
athleticism.
stamina. So eating big to get big, then exercising is viable. These are all great additions. A lot of games just have hunger, thirst, and a building system and then they're done. But
True.
there's even more. Understandably, the horrors of the forest are a lot to take in, so you have to deal with sanity. The more depraved actions you take, like murder, or participating in cannibalism yourself, the lower it goes. You restore it by listening to tapes, relaxing, and generally being a good human being again. The bushes in the game already look like human silhouettes. Then your sanity gets lower. You start seeing movement where there is none, hear audio hallucinations. The Forrest starts playing tricks. What? Oh, sorry about that. It does nothing. Thanks for coming out, everybody. Wait, it unlocks effigies, but they didn't want it to be low. Oh, you can be infected, but there was no way of telling because it's just a background stat thing, and I'd have to look in the book. Wait a minute. Here I couldn't wash off the blood that causes infection. I had to reload a save to fix it. I can't pick up this clue in a cave, and it's not just me. Enemies sometimes pop through gates or hit things behind walls.
Oh,
the more
no.
footage I look at, the more bugs I see.
Oh,
it's almost
no.
like playing an early access game.
Oh,
but they're
no.
done. They're working on a sequel. I've gotten stuck in the environment a few times. The log sled sent me flying into the stratosphere. When you have features that go nowhere combined with a ton of bugs, it looks to me that the game is blatantly unfinished. Every game can have some bugs, so I usually don't mention them if they're minor. But this time around, the Forest has won me over by the sheer volume of them. Even when tiny, something goes wrong incredibly often.
Aw,
While they
I
were
was
clearly done with the
excited.
content and just left it as is, there is a severe lack of polish. I'm genuinely surprised that this is the amount of bugs they were okay with. This kind of jank also extends into how features are organized. Let's look at the building system. You've got a book that has tabs. Simple enough. Let's say that you want to build a wall. This
Okay.
page is a custom wall. You go a few more. Basic wall. Then you keep going a bunch more. Defensive wall. Strange, but okay. How about building a door? It's right there, right? Yeah, but did you know you can make a door with a lock? You don't press something putting a door down, you put down a custom wall and then cycle through it until you get a door with a lock. That's not well explained. Okay, how about this one? You know a rabbit trap? If you
Okay.
place it in water, it just turns into a fish trap. Would you ever figure that out without it being an accident? You can craft a
Oh.
repair tool. You just bang it on your stuff and it fixes it up for free. Except one time I thought it bugged out and stopped working. It turns out sometimes needs logs to repair certain buildings. Which specific buildings and why? I have no clue. It's as if construction had an entire final pass it needed that just never happened. So much is
Oh.
disorganized and needlessly cryptic. You could say research the wiki, but this isn't Minecraft or some multiplayer-focused survival game. The Forest has a story. There's mystery at the center of it. A wiki is the absolute last place you should be sending me. Speaking of story, there is an issue with how it progresses. The game encourages you to explore down to the bottom of a massive sinkhole. The intended way is cave exploring through the massive network of them. Getting to the bottom requires 2 items. First, a climbing axe, because The Descent is a cool movie. Then a rebreather, for all your terrifying
A
underwater cave
rebreather.
exploring needs. Here's the thing. There are only one of each of these items, each in their own cave. When you get to the bottom, you need a 3rd item. It's not used for movement like these 2 items. In fact, it's not even connected to them. So you can go through hell, get to the very bottom, and realize you needed a 3rd item and then have to go all the way back up or load a save. I was a completionist and explored every single cave before going
Ooh.
all the way down.
Okay.
Not everybody is going to do that. The
True.
experience of the trek through the earth can be completely destroyed by someone getting there and realizing they're gated off. They either go all the way back up, or go on the wiki and figure out how to spawn the item they need. I kinda wish I had looked at the wiki. I tried to make a fire on a cliff and it vanished, but I still needed the materials. I thought I was misinterpreting something like how Smash players practice the wrong kind of grooming. Then I saw the fire had spawned somewhere up on a rock way above me. There's no cancel blueprint from afar button and I didn't know about console commands. So I had to live with the notification in the corner or go down and try to kill it over and over again. And I got it eventually. But man, what a trial over a minor thing. I need to stop thinking of Smash Brothers. I do commend them for having a story in the game. A lot of others
Is
in the
it a good
genre just
story?
don't bother. Yet a few more spawns of the key story item could have helped. The overall lack of polish is my biggest issue with the Forest. Because sure, it would have been nice to have more scary mutant variety and no I don't count
A
retailers,
flintlock.
but progressing through the story and finding special items are deeply tied into spelunking. Yet my torch puts out less light than my CIL lighter. There's not much more to say on the issue. It sucks because I do like the game a lot. At the same time, whenever I recommend it to a friend, I always have to say, yeah, it's basically an early access game still. They're working on a sequel, it'll likely stay like this forever. I mean, there's an entire mountain biome, but barely a reason to go there. This could have been one of my favorite single-player survival games. I do like it a lot, but all the issues...
Bro, it sounded so good for the first 10 minutes. And it seemed so good. And then he started talking about bugs and shit. And now it does not seem that good.
issues really bring it down. It's immensely frustrating, but at least you have cannibals to take that out on. I usually go for the katana. I just want to go outside again, but you won't let me. I don't want to be angry anymore. I just want this to be over.
Anyone that know what that music is, you a king or a queen, okay?
They're all back the next day. So how about the multiplayer?
Okay, how is the
Spray you
multiplayer?
with cringe be gone.
The Forest servers are a coin flip, so you mainly want to play with friends. Instead of playing one dad, you are now the Dad Collective. So now it's up to you and your alternative family to
wait.
try.
A real question though. One child or multiple child? Are you a dad in a dad orgy relationship? Or are you a dad with other dad that have different children that you gotta take care of? I'm asking the real questions. Come on, you guys know that these are the real questions.
Oh, no, Dimitri's bald and Chinese as well.
We're clones? It's almost like playing another game. In multiplayer, you can build a super fortress that would take a long time to do alone. Of course, the rapid expansion does come at a cost. Your mass deforestation and general meddling gets the natives really angry, so things quickly turn into a war right from the get-go.
You have a
can still raid
catapult.
caches and do everything else you could in single
He
player
has a
right down to
catapult.
completing the story. If you have played it before, you're only in the caves for the items. The more players you have, the more challenging it is to feed everybody, so the door to cannibalism also opens up a lot faster. In turn, this makes the locals even angrier. You might try to eat normally, but eventually someone takes the plunge into people jerky. It is a dark, dark path, and there's really no coming back from it. However, survivability isn't just up from resources. What would kill you in single player, you can now recover from. There is less tension like any co-op game, but it's not completely gone. I might have made it sound like it just devolves into being another zombie survival game, but it's really not. The AI and
Boink.
unpredictability doesn't go away.
This guy has like 17
Nothing.
arrows.
Oh,
in him.
hey, look, he's back.
Is he?
Hi.
Did he bring friends?
Hi. You checking out the wall? It's our handiwork.
Oh, Avery, he's watching you chop down that tree.
Yeah. Uh-oh, that's not good.
Avery, he's coming!
Wasn't he?
What do you mean it was on me?
Oh my god.
In one game, we
Bro,
were
that's a lot of
completely
people.
driven from our home. The cannibals became so violent we just had to build a boat and leave. Hey Dimitri, you want to be careful? It's an absolute ton of fun and a no-hassle setup. The only issues it has are the exact same things as single player, except now there
Bugs.
are brand new, multiplayer exclusive bugs. I mean, it wasn't like I was expecting things to be more stable, but I can safely say I didn't count on every tree vanishing. At least restarting
What?
the server fixed that, so nothing too crazy to say about it. The multiplayer does give a reason for no planes to land, so I guess that's nice. So that leaves the story, which is almost entirely told through in-game clues. Besides wondering where Timmy is, the main compulsion is what's going on here. The deeper you go, the more previous explorers you find. Who are the cannibals and mutants? Are they descended from Christian settlers gone Quaker crazy? Did they come from ancient Chinese explorers? Did their ancestors make the big metal doors? Without spoilers, the story reminds me a lot of Prometheus, and not just because of big blue people. Questions are answered, but a lot of the answers just open even more questions. So if you don't want to hear about that and some endgame stuff, then skip to here.
I'm okay. Listen, I don't really care about spoilers, but we still might play it just for the atmosphere, and then we might play it multiplayer if there's people that want to play it with me, because it might be fun bullshittery shit. You know, it might be fun jerk around each other. Jerk off. Yes. So if you want to jerk me off,
Alright,
we
here
can play
go.
together.
The third item you
Wait.
needed was a key card.
I can
This
ju-
opens the secret lab for Sahara Pharmaceuticals. They have
Fair.
objects littered around the peninsula if you're paying attention. Well, they completely own the peninsula with a giant secret underground lab. An ancient civilization or aliens or something once dwelled here. Sahara has come to excavate and study it. In particular, a device that can bring the dead back to life.
Ethical
This is the
scientist.
resurrection obelisk, the cause of all your problems.
Dead
Bringing
Space?
the dead to life isn't free. A Sahara employee named Dr. Cross was abusing his family. He likely killed his wife and his daughter died in a lab accident. So he was going to use the power of the device to bring her back. The catch is one life
So he
must
can
be
kill her
sacrificed
again?
to bring back another. Sahara was already experimenting on terminally ill children. It's also likely they had been kidnapping a ton of others. This was Timmy's purpose, the sacrifice to bring his daughter Megan Cross back. So it's not a cannibal in the intro, it's the good doctor. So Megan is alive again, but her father is dead. It turns out the cost of being resurrected is also being horribly mutated. So the little girl's spider form thing is your final boss. It's okay. You try to throw her corpse in to bring Timmy back, but the machine only takes live bait. So you go to the second device, which EMPs things. So that does explain the plane crash. Maybe a little too blatantly. From here you can either shut the device down, or bring down a second plane to bring a child to sacrifice for Timmy, continuing the cycle and bookending the beginning. Shutting off the device lets you keep playing the game. A form of the final boss will eventually start spawning in the woods, so that's a new challenge. There's also a brand new enemy, which is kind of like a Gmod prop coming to kill you. Having a
What the
weird
fuck?
shape-changing enemy like this is creative, but it does feel out of place in the forest. Going from grotesque, multi-limbed mutants to a big, flying sausage link is strange. It is a different challenge to tackle, so I do give it that. You can hunt down the artifact that gives you horde or peaceful mode and have a lot of post-game fun. So if you did want to do the story in multiplayer, you can keep playing. The other proper ending locks all that out. You sacrifice
Did you create a person glider?
another kid and you and Timmy go on a talk show. You had quite a story and you were already playing as Canadian Survivor Man. Timmy grows up and has to constantly fight off his mutations. They tease a sequel, and that's it. Any questions? I have one. What the hell were the cannibals? If you paint yourself red, they're all terrified of you. They make a point of showing the Sahara security doors as bright red.
It's like Warhammer 40k. You are red, you are faster, you are stronger.
So are they experimented
Orcs.
on causing the fear, or was that always there? What is their relation to the resurrection mutants? Sahara was clearly studying tons of them. At the same time, it looks like the mutants can reproduce on their own. There are drawings of them from before Sahara was on the scene. At the same time, it looks
Can't
like
you
Sahara is
sacrifice
using
a
degenerate science to make the machine work at all. The mystery
mutant?
precursors didn't make all this too. So are they just recreating mutants that already existed before? I can only assume Dr. Cross caused some kind of mass breakout to make this chaos happen, but where's the rest of the company then? What about the corpses that look like they were wiped out instantly? Is there some kind of third device? I gotta go back to this, but cannibals and mutants clearly live and work together. If the machine makes mutants, do they just make the cannibals too? Like they're less mutated, then broke out and developed different cultures really fast? Red pacifies every tribe and they all use mutants, so there has to be something linking them. Is it all for longevity medicine? I mean, what's happening? It raises so many questions to the point of being frustrating and pretty needlessly. I would have been completely fine with something less convoluted. I thought it might have been as simple as they're a strange humanity offshoot. Once again, calling back to the Descent. Maybe they're like cicadas and just come above ground to fight and breed after long stretches. Hell,
Well, have y'all noticed that this is a very this seems to be a thing in games a lot lately, where they make the story super complicated, but then they don't explain shit. And you're like, okay, so is it good or is it bad? You can't really tell, because it's so complicated you don't really understand if it's good or bad. But at the same time, it's complicated and not explained and doesn't make complete sense. So I don't know. This seems to be
these giant
happening in
trees
a
appear
lot
to
of
be
games
sacred to them.
nowadays.
Silhouetted, their most common
For
mutants
whatever
either
the
look
fuck
like
reason.
trees with branches or roots. They can have an alien life cycle where they become
Like, how does that mutant even exist? Does that thing feed? How does it breathe? It got no head. Where brain? Is it just like, if it's working on instinct, why not kill other people?
trees, and you're actually
What is
fighting
it?
the forest. I don't know anymore. I need a timeline. Of course,
Metal
they're
Gear.
safe just completely ignoring the story. It's a nice bonus to have. The Forest is a game I'd call on the verge of greatness, but not quite there.
Come on,
If
bro.
some features in the interface are polished up and a bunch of bugs were smashed, I think it could be. Sadly,
Crocodile.
development is full swing on the sequel, so I don't think that's happening. Still, it's only $20 at full price, and I've definitely gotten my money's worth out of it. If you like these kinds of games and can deal with the jank, it's well worth it at that. For now, I can only hope the sequel will keep more bugs in the woods instead of the game. I'll see you next time when I cover another early access title that got released. That's assuming it doesn't destroy my life. Again.
Do we like the video? We like the video. Okay, I have a question for y'all. How janky is it if you've played it? Because I kind of want to play it just for the atmosphere. It looks
The
interesting.
real world video, it was still being updated then. Do you feel overwhelmed by the list of games? Not by the list itself, but mail definitely now. I'm actually a few months behind and need to keep up. I get a lot more than I used to. Do you take time off from this? The last time I really did was last year involuntarily due to injury, but I can't remember the last time I did really. Whenever I relax too long, I feel like I should be working. What YouTuber would you take with you to survive in the cannibal wilderness? I'm gonna stick to games. Primitive technology would be too easy. Oh, this one's kind of hard. I feel like Ross Scott from Accursed Farms would know something to fuck up the cannibals with. I'll take him. He seems like a survivor. Milk, water, orange juice, or a combination in your cereal. Jesus Christ. What's more?
Orange. What is wrong with you? Oh. Who did that? Who are you? Adam? This is why Eve left you.
Jesus Christ. What's more important, gameplay or story?
This is
Gameplay
why God
easily.
left us.
Most of the stories
That's why
in
God
games I really
died.
liked are tied into the gameplay. If you only have story and nothing around that, you could just watch it on YouTube and get the best part of it. I think it just defeats the point of making a video game in the first place. Just make like an animated film or something.
True.
Okay, I'll see you next time.
He's destroying the people, Jerky!
Stay off there!
Okay. That was that. What do you guys think? Should we play this at some point? I kind of want to play it just for the atmosphere. And maybe play with some other people. It might be fun for the jank. You know, it's probably going to be funny, retarded, and entertaining. Anyway. It seems interesting. I might give this a shot in the future. Anyway, quick thank you to the YouTube members and patrons. We'll be playing some Undertale later on today. I've never played Undertale before, so it will be fun. And yeah, have a nice day everybody. Bye bye.